dear, very good afternoon to you and welcome to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live on all our partner stations across the country and around the world. We are live on citinewsroom.com. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa, and this afternoon I'm here with
Charles Osukumi.
Coming up, Ghana Education Service sends fact-finding mission to the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale to ascertain the veracity of report that toilet cubicles have been converted into an accommodation facility for students.
We have received a bit of reports, therefore we decided to come from GS headquarters to find things for ourselves in a way to corroborate with whatever the report is in the media or otherwise. So that is why I'm here.
Meanwhile, embattled headmaster of the school has denied the claims. Also coming up, President Akufo-Addo signs 3 new tax bills passed by Parliament into law.
We expect the GRA to get into implementation mode ASAP so that at least some decent revenues can flow from it.
Still ahead, Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, disconnect the Accra Digital Center of the national grid over 600,000 cedis debt. And later, we tell you how Medina MP Francis Xavier Sosu walked out of the Kaneshi court a free man after police arrested him for a demonstration he led in his constituency 2 years ago.
I think this is a very unacceptable situation and must be condemned by all well-meaning Ghanaians. Every allegation of leakage must be investigated, and people who are found culpable must.
Apologies for that, but all that and more coming up on Citi Prime News, which is live on all our affiliates across the country. Upper West region, we are live on Tumpani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli, Jirapa FM 96.1 in Jirapa. Upper East, we are live on Rikas FM 92.1 in Bongo Namo. Northern region, North Star Radio 92.1 in Tamale. Northeast region, we are live on Nobia FM 98.1 in Nalerigu. Western region, Beach FM 105.5 in Tekrade. Ashanti region, we are live on Focus FM 94.3 on KNUST campus Kumasi. Orange FM 107.9 also in Kumasi. Volta region, we are live on Sela Radio 97.1 in Dabala. Holy FM 98.5 in Aplao. And Savannah region, we are live on Kasha FM 99.5 in Damongo.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We are grateful for choosing us. Now, the Ghana Education Service has sent a fact-finding mission to the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale to ascertain the veracity of report that toilet cubicles have been converted into an accommodation facility for students. The service had earlier interdicted the headmaster and senior headmaster of the school following a viral video on the accommodation situation in the school. Now, the GS delegation to the school is made up of its Deputy Director General, Stephen Kumawu, the Acting Northern Regional Director of Education, among others. The team inspected the Bansagba dormitory and the cubicles, which were said to be toilet facilities converted into accommodation. The Deputy Director General, Stephen Kumawu, also speaking to the media, said findings of their investigation will be made public after briefing the Director General.
GS management's attention was drawn to a media circulation or a video circulating in the media regarding the management of this school. I'm talking about Ganasco putting students in the toilet or on a toilet. And we decided that the regional director should come down here to find out the truth of the report. We have received a bit of reports, therefore we decided to come from GS headquarters to find things for ourselves in a way to corroborate with whatever the report is in the media or otherwise. So that is why I'm here. I'm here detailed by the Director General of Ghana Education Service to come to the school to find out how the situation is so that management can make the final decision on this. So that is why I'm here. What I can say now is that because I was sent by a Director General, it will be proper I get back to him and submit my report to him. So if it becomes very necessary for us to engage the media again, we will let you know what is happening. Actually, there is no way that we can hide whatever facts that we have from the media because it's already in the media. So we will get back to you.
Stephen Kumawu is Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service. Let's now hear from some of the students of the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale.
Where they say was toilet wasn't actually toilet. Because since we came in with years back, we've never seen it to be any. There is no material there that you will, maybe you see that it will be a feature of maybe toilet or something like that. But with the actual fact, we have extra spaces in the dormitories to be allowing other students to go there to sleep. The only thing that is there is that those people from far places, maybe from Volta region, Accra, and then all those stuff, when they are going back to their houses, they don't carry their chop boxes and their mattresses there. So they only keep their mattresses, their gallons, and everything of theirs there. So that when they come back, they also come back and pick them back into their various rooms.
But some of your colleagues said they lodged in that cubicle.
Actually, there's no one sleeping there. It's only when after prep, when someone wants to study. After prep, the classrooms are always locked. No one is allowed to study in the classroom. So after prep, when the person maybe wants to learn throughout the night, that's where they go in there and then have their studies just for the night. And then maybe sometimes some people also with the midnight prayer, the Muslim prayers, some people also go there to have their midnight prayer since the mosque sometimes is always locked.
After prep noise, everyone is making noise, that's why. So that's the main reason why we don't study there.
But do you have toilet facilities in the school?
Yeah, we have some toilet facilities down there. It's painted blue and white.
Is it in use?
Yes.
But I understand open defecation is widespread on campus.
No, but it's not really rampant.
The reason is that, okay, the open defecation is because of the village ban. They only go to, because we don't have a wall, they enter and then they only go to the other side of the school. That's the ending part where we have our dam there. That's where they only go to defecate. But open defecation by students, we don't do that. We have extra toilet facilities.
Those were some students of the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale speaking to our Northern Regional correspondent, Dinah Ingwan. We'll take you live to Tamale shortly, but let's hear from the Regional Minister, Shani Al-Hassan Shaibu, who said his outfit was unaware of the situation at the school.
I've seen anything wrong with this behavior, I would have equally commented on it. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. The case is that this is of malice, that somebody has hatched, and I don't know for what reason that person would. But what gladdens my heart is that the Deputy Director General is here. I've gone around with him. We have seen all that has transpired. And he and his team would do a proper report to the Director General and the Minister so that the appropriate steps will be taken to solve this problem. I think that there's still a lot for us to do as citizens and do these parochial things that would always draw our nation 2 steps backward.
That was the Northern Regional Minister, Shani Al-Hassan Shaibu. Now, the embattled headmaster of the school, Douglas Haruna Yakubu, has strongly refuted reports that the school has transformed a toilet facility into accommodation for students. He says the story was staged and therefore cannot be true. Mr. Yakubu says the school has enough space for accommodation and would not convert toilet into a dormitory.
Ghana. That's why I'm including the 5 northern regions. We have the most dormitories that you can think of. Recently, they handed over a new dormitory facility that can take about 800 students. So we evacuated students from an old dormitory to that place. As I talk now, that old dormitory just standing. So why would we convert a toilet facility into dormitory? Now, that facility they want to say we converted into dormitory has been so for many years. It has never been a dormitory. It's always a boxes room. It's always a cleaning materials room. So it is a store more or less. But then, in the 60s, when Kwame Nkrumah built the place, there were washrooms, you see, and they still have the design of washrooms. That facility has not been modernized. They have some moving blocks to change it to a dormitory. They are just small cubicles. And that is where we keep our, top boxes when students are traveling. We have students coming from as far as Western region to our school. So if we decide to use a place for as boxes, I don't know why people would want to take it for granted that what do you call it?
So these are makeshift box rooms, not sleeping places.
They are never sleeping places.
So how come in the video you see where the yellow gallon is? There is a mattress in front of that door, and there's like a sleeping cloth on the mattress. What is that?
Yes. So you see, these are tricks that sometimes, let me excuse my word, you journalists can always do. And that's one of the reasons why most heads of institutions do not want to engage journalists. You have gone to dramatize. I don't know where he got the experience from. The possibility is that these buses that you see might have been taken from the dormitory, which is just an attachment to the place, for him to cover his pictures or his videos and leave. So I am surprised. Seeing, if you come, that's why I said all journalists or media houses who wanted the truth should come to the ground. You see, when you say the picture is as if we have cleaned up a toilet, washed all the feces and all nasty things, and used it as a dormitory. It is not true. Far back in the 80s, this place has been like that. Look, you will not find fetus. There are no fetus.
Yeah.
Douglas Haruna Yakubu is embattled headmaster of the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale in that interview earlier with Bernard Avle on the Citi Breakfast Show. Let's go live to Tamale and speak to our correspondent, Dinah Ingwan, to get the latest on this particular issue. Good afternoon to you, Dinah. Thanks for your time. Generally, what is the atmosphere on the campus of the Ghana Senior High School?
So currently, we have a lot of people in terms of all students, some headmasters, and GES executives in the presently here at the Ghana Senior High School to ascertain the veracity of the reports that some toilet facilities have been converted into dormitory for students here. And it is all about talking, and they are in disbelief that such reports actually came out from the school. The delegation from the Ghana Education Service was here. He inspected the dormitory and the third cubicle that is alleged to have been converted into toilet facility. He also inspected some other accommodation facilities in the school. After which he held a closed-door meeting with the staff. So generally, in terms of accommodation, there's a guest fund dormitory project here, which was recently commissioned, and we understand it has a capacity of about 800 students, and the cubicles, which were originally meant for toilet facility and is alleged to have been converted into dormitory, is situated in a dormitory which has a capacity of 120. However, the current population, we understand, is even less than 100 in the dormitory. The number of students occupying the dormitory are less than 100 over there. So they are surprised that such reports actually came from there. And the school currently operates a transitional track that, according to management here, if they were to admit their students, they will still find enough space to accommodate them. And then, aside the inspection by the education minister, delegation from the education service, the regional minister himself came around. He's an old student. He inspected the facility, and he expressed disappointment in the report and insisted that, like we all saw here, it is designed in a form of toilet facility, but it has never been used as a toilet. There's no spitter in the cubicle. The students place their boxes there, and today there's no mattress, probably because the students are not on campus. Currently, it's only the second year who are on campus. They actually resumed today, and so it is only the second years who are on campus today. And the interdicted headmaster and the housemaster, they are also here, but they are not actively engaged in anything, but they are here because the GES delegation is here to interact with them. The delegation interacted with some students, after which we also spoke to them. We asked them the situation. They told that there's no congestion in the dormitory, and the place which is said to be a toilet facility is a place they go sometimes to study when there's so much noise in the dormitory. And it has never been used as a toilet facility and now converted.
Very well. Did you have any opportunity of visiting this particular dormitory? We understand this toilet facility that has been converted, as reported by the journalist. Were you able to visit the facility?
I went there, like I said earlier. There are about 5 cubicles in there. There's no even a pipeline to install any toilet facility. You won't see any sign of maybe it was in the process or it has ever been used as a toilet facility. No hole has been created, I must say. It's just a normal cubicle designed in a form of toilet, but it has never been installed to be used as a toilet facility. And there's no ventilation. And if a student wants to sleep there, I'm pretty sure the students will suffocate because there's not enough ventilation in there for students to sleep in there, from what I saw.
Very well. Has this distorted academic work? We know the second year students reported today.
No. Currently, they are in class and teachers are teaching them. It has not interfered in teaching and learning.
What happens after today? All the stakeholders were there. The GS deputy director said he would have to come back to Accra and then brief his boss. What happens next after today?
So they said after today, after this investigation, they will come out with the feedback, like the results of their investigation within 2 weeks. And after that, we will know. The interdicted staff will know their fate. But until then, normal academic activities is ongoing here, and the assistant headmasters have taken in charge and managing their first year. But the interdicted headmaster and the assistant, the housemaster, have stepped aside for investigation to ascertain the actual situation on the ground.
Very well, most grateful for your time. Diana Ingwana is our Northern Regional Correspondent, making us up to speed on a fact-finding visit by the Ghana Education Service to the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale. Let's now hear from the president of the Old Student Association of the school, Alhaji Baba Yakubu.
From this building, Cabral Banzaba House, we have a building. In fact, I wouldn't call it an abandoned, but we have an occupied building that had previously been used as accommodation. But because we have more than enough to take care of the students in respect of accommodation, we have moved the students to the new building that was put out. And that building is there unoccupied. So accommodation for students isn't a problem at all, let alone to force them to sleep in cubicles that was, showcased to the whole public. Well, what Madam says is this: facility is there unoccupied, and most of the students are coming from very far places. As we speak, only the second year students are here, even few. Many of them are still at home. So it will not be proper for us to expect the children to carry their chop boxes, mattresses, and everything home whenever school is not in session. So it is through resource students, and that is so because it is a facility meant for student accommodation. So they could have been there for a different thing other than what was sold out to the general public. It is very clear that, yes, the rooms were originally designed to serve for the purpose of toilet facilities. I am an old student of this very house, Banzaba House. I entered Ganasco in 1993 and left in 1995. Within the period, I found myself as a student for 3 clear years. The facility was never used as a toilet. And my inquiry has even moved back to even 70s, 80s, and 90s. The place has never been used for toilet facility, let alone for the school to think of converting it when we even have excess capacity for residential accommodation for the students.
Alhaji Baba Yakubu is president of the All Students Association of the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale. Now we have been speaking to the Tamale-based reporter for Rainbow Radio who first broke the story, Prince Kwame Tamaklo. He says the videos are teasers for a full documentary that establishes the details of the reality of the situation.
It's unfortunate and it's funny to hear the headmaster say it was staged. If it was staged, then the mattresses I found at the corridor, probably I should arrange one each in the cubicles of the toilet. I mean the channels. Each of them should contain that, beautifully arranged. I went there during the day and then picked these shots. What do I stand to gain? The reason for releasing this particular excerpt as the main investigation, as the trailer for the documentary is that last year we gathered reports of about 5 people who died in the Savannah region, or I think Damango, over what we call the CSM. And we know CSM is caused by heat, according to the health people. So what's going to happen is that if I look at this to happen, and out of heat, which we in the north, we are confronted with, students contract CSM and die out of that. As a journalist who has this story or who is aware of this, what have I done to these innocent children? How will I feel that, oh, I saw this and then I never made it happen? I never let the public know about it. So bringing this out, I think when they close its usage, perfect. But then I can tell you on authority that if it is a place for keeping stuff as he was, the headmaster is claiming, then what I know is that where we keep our chop boxes, it isn't only one chop box that you find. It isn't only 1 gallon you will find. At least if it's a place that you keep the students, if it's a storeroom, we shouldn't find just one, because it's not just one student or two that are in that particular dormitory. And so if he's calling it a staged story, is that funny?
All right.
Then I went to him to find out if he's aware of the situation. He says to the best of his knowledge, he is not aware of anything like that. Then I even asked him in the video, or yes, and then the audio, when I was having an interview with him, in his office, I asked him, should I show you the evidence? Then he said yes. So what he just took over office, he's not even a year in the office. So maybe I could give him the benefit of the doubt when he was responding that way.
Prince Kwame Tamaklo is a Tamale-based reporter for Rainbow Radio. Now, a member of the Education Committee of Parliament and MP for Busa South, Clement Park, says the headmaster confessed during a Public Accounts Committee hearing that the situation happened on his blind side. He also revealed that he has received several reports that point to a widespread situation across some senior high schools in the country.
Why would students go and live in such a space if, as he is saying, there is adequate space in the normal dormitories for them to dwell in? And his response was that that space was a space in an older building that was not being used. And that those cubicles were not serving as toilet facilities, although if you look at the design, that is what they were supposed to say. In fact, he gave the narration that he was not even aware that students have moved in to occupy the said space. He went on to indicate that because the video had gone viral by then, and the media had become very interested, before he even came to attend to the summons of the Public Accounts Committee, he had delegated the senior housemaster to take other media personnel to the space, and that they were going to initiate processes to find out how that happened. To quote him, "This happened on my blind side." The investigation definitely ought to be conducted so that we would know the true facts of this matter. But Bernard, if you want my honest opinion, I would not be surprised that the headmaster would be right in indicating that management did not convert that space into accommodation. But I wouldn't also be surprised that students would move to dwell in that space, because the numbers that we have in many of the schools, as far as official documentation is concerned, would look as though there is adequate space. But every student coming with their chop box, their trunk, and all of those other accoutrements that we all know. We know of situations that dormitories that are supposed to hold 100 students are being assigned 150 and sometimes more students.
Clement Apak is MP for Busa South and a member of Parliament's Education Committee.
Still with issues relating to the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale, education think tank Africa Education Watch wants data submitted by management of senior high schools on their capacity to admit students to be scrutinized. His comment follows the circulation of a video where students at the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale have turned their toilet facilities into sleeping areas. The Ghana Education Service, GES, has indicated that the school has the capacity to admit the number of students it currently has. GES has subsequently directed the head teacher of the school to step aside to allow for investigations. Reacting to the development, the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, said data available to the Ministry of Education may have some inconsistencies.
Well, it didn't come to me as a surprise because congestion in our senior high schools is no news, especially in the boarding facilities. But what was surprising is that it came to me, this year, because this year the data we have from the ministry suggests that we have more than we actually need in terms of capacity to admit students. There's about 20,000 extra spaces to be filled by students, and so it beats my mind, when you see congestion of this nature, when indeed we have 20,000 more vacancies in our senior high schools than we need. And that is why it beat my mind. That is why I'm happy that the GES acted swiftly and instituted an investigation into the matter. I believe that we need to focus on rationalizing the data available at the Ministry of Education and GES in Accra and the situation on the ground. For example, the computerized school placement system will only place a student in a boarding house in Ghana secondary school based on the number of beds the school declared. And so it means that if we are going strictly according to how admissions are done through the computerized school placement, it should be impossible for any student to get to the school and not have a bed, because it is based on the beds declared by the school that the computer does placement for boarding students. I have a feeling that there is a significant difference between the data available at the national level and the.
You heard the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare.
You are still listening to the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa, here with Charles Owusu Kume. Still to come, Electoral Commission set Tuesday, May 23 as date for the by-election in Kumawu following the death of the MP Philip Baswa. We have details of that, plus other stories coming up shortly. Please don't go away.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for choosing us. Now, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah has confirmed that President Akufo-Addo has assented into law the 3 new tax bills passed by Parliament earlier this month. Now, Parliament passed the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2022, the Growth and Sustainability Level Bill 2022, the Ghana Revenue Authority Bill 2022, and the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2022 by majority decision. Government hopes to raise about 4 billion cedis annually as part of the domestic revenue mobilization. Speaking to Citi News, the Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah said government is looking forward to a speedy implementation process.
Yes, it's true that we've delayed at least about some 4 months before having these revenue bills passed, and that will ultimately affect how much money can be raised from these revenue measures at the end of the year. But it's better late than never. We expect the GRA to get into implementation mode ASAP so that at least some decent revenues can flow from it to help implement first the budget and secondly, the broader economic recovery program that we are on.
We had Information Minister Kojo Ponkoma.
The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, says Ghana has met majority of the IMF conditionalities needed to secure the $3 billion balance of payment support. Mr. Ofori-Atta says series of meetings with Ghana's external creditors have been positive. Ken Ofori-Atta is in Washington, D.C., participating in the IMF World Bank spring meetings as part of moves to secure a bailout. He told journalists Ghana is on a positive path.
On the roadmap to an IMF board approval and beyond, in relation to the fund program, on the government side, we have made significant progress and have completed all prior actions agreed to move the fund. Additionally, the Paris Club has met and continues to meet to discuss the delivery of financing assurances. Based on our engagements, we expect these financing assurances to come in the next couple of weeks, thereby enabling Ghana's program to be presented to the IMF board for approval soon after that. Today's webcast was to engage our investors for their support for Ghana's program supported by the fund. We've also met with our development partners on the need to safeguard growth and private investments into Ghana. This government is determined to crowd in private sector growth to accelerate growth. In line with that, we also met with the leadership of the World Bank Group and the IFC earlier in the week and are looking to tailor a private sector focused strategy that ensures that over the next few years, the sectors that are vital to sustainable growth and job creation in Ghana will continue to be supported.
You heard Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta.
Now, the Accra West Regional Task Force of the Electricity Company of Ghana has cut power to the Accra Digital Center over 600,000 cedis debt. The operation forms part of a national exercise by ECG to recoup monies owed by customers. The national exercise is expected to end this week. Henceforth, the task force is aggressively mobilizing its revenue. Citi news sources say an amount of 2.5 billion cedis has been generated so far. The team is currently heading to the Airtel Tigo office to carry out a similar exercise. Let's go on the phone lines and speak to my colleague Fred Duho, who is currently with the ECG task force team. Good afternoon to you, Fred. Thanks for your time. Now, before we go to where the team is currently, how did this debt come up? Do we know the number of years this has spanned?
Howard, this might have lasted for more than 3 months. Essentially, the ECG is saying that when they send you a bill, you are supposed to redeem that indebtedness within at least 1.5 months. You shouldn't allow the previous month bill to accumulate while they bring a new bill to you. So if you go beyond 3 months, you've basically gone against their laid down procedures or rules. Hence, they have no option than to take you off. And before they even proceed to take you off, they need to serve you notice of demand, indicating to you that you owe them and you need to pay. And failure to do so, they would serve you notice of disconnection. And if that also fails, they will proceed to disconnect you when the time is due. So literally that is what happened at the Accra Digital Center this morning when the task force got to their premises. They had engagement with the managers of the digital center. And after talks with them, within 5 minutes, the task force came out and the resolution was to proceed to disconnect them. So they did just that and we left the premises.
Briefly hold a line for me. Let's hear from the Public Relations Officer for the Accra West ECG, Fred Bambel Johnson.
I think for illegal connection, over the past 1 month, the figures I've seen, we have about 140, we've made about 140 arrests, and out of it, the figure hovers around 1 million Ghana cedis. And there's money that wouldn't have been paid to us, monies that people were stealing from us, and which through this exercise we've been able to find out, and we have surcharged the persons who were involved. When it comes to the amount we've been able to collect, because the exercise in totality is not over, we have not been able to put total figures on them. But for the Accra West region, if I pick just one district, which is the Kaneshie district, I know that about 25 million has been collected from special low tariff customers, that's SLT customers, and that's quite substantial. So we are hoping to be able to give out more detailed figures once the exercise is over in the Accra West region, though globally we are aware that some 2.5 billion cedis has been collected so far.
Fred Bambil Johnson speaks for the ECG in the Accra West region. Fred is still on the line. Fred, tell us more. The team, we understand, is currently heading to the Airtel Tigo head office to carry out a similar exercise.
How we got here some 40 minutes ago. Managers of the Accra West region task force went in there to engage managers of Airtel Tigo. They just came out some 2 minutes now, and the information I got from them is that they've agreed to settle their indebtedness, and they are signing a check to the tune of about 1 million Ghana cedis to clear either part of their debt. So they would be spared for agreeing to settle their debt. So I can say that they are free, or they'll be left off the hook because they've been able to do the needful. Unlike the Accra Digital Center, that they couldn't fulfill their payment and they were taken off. Go will be spared.
Very well. Now, this week, we understand it's the revenue mobilization exercise ends on the 20th. Per your conversation with the ECG, how has the process been so far?
Most of them that have engaged indicated that the exercise has been smooth. They just hope to sustain it even after the national date that was set aside, being the 20th. So essentially, they say, aside the pocket of issues where from time to time some customers prove very difficult and they would have to proceed to take them off the national grid, the general exercise has really come to help them to recoup some substantial amount of money that were debt on their books over the period. So our managers of ECG that have engaged so far describe the exercise as very fruitful.
Grateful for your time. That was my colleague Fred Duho. We'll come back to you in subsequent bulletins when you have more from the ECG Revenue Mobilization Task Force currently moving from one particular agency to the other. Charles will bring us other related story from the election. I beg your pardon, the ECG.
Yes, we stay with the ECG. The power distribution company says efforts are underway to restore power to the Yilo and Lower Menyakrobo municipalities in the eastern region. A rainstorm over the weekend disrupted power supply to areas including Bon Quarters, Makrosek, Nuaso, and Abansi. ECG, through its repair works, migrated some customers onto other supply lines. The public relations manager for the Tema region, Techua Mensah, said the power distribution company is hoping to completely restore power by close of day.
We are still working on it. We are still on the field. Now we need to erect a new pole and redo the cable work. So we hope that by close of day today, power supply will be restored. Currently, the only place that's off is the Bon Quarters. All the other places were migrated onto a different feeder. So now they are all, since Saturday evening, the incident happened Saturday around 5, thereabouts. That same Saturday evening, we were able to migrate some of the customers to a different feeder. So some of them were back on supply on Saturday evening. Some were back on supply on Sunday. However, the Bon Quarters area has remained off. And we hope that by close of day today, Monday, 17th April 2023, they would all be back on supply. We are still on the field. We are still working. And we really apologize for the inconvenience. There's a natural occurrence. There's an accident that has happened. And at the end of the day, our commitment remains that whenever there's such a fault, such a system, whenever there's such an accident that causes outages, would be available to work as quickly as possible to ensure that supply will be restored to all affected customers. So,
Techua Mensah is the public relations manager for the Electricity Company of Ghana in the Tema region.
Now, the Electoral Commission has set Tuesday, May 23, as date for the by-elections in Kumawu following the death of their Member of Parliament, Philip Baswa. We are joined in studio by Caleb Kuda, who has a copy of a letter from the Electoral Commission. Good afternoon to you, Caleb. Thanks for joining us. Tell us the processes leading up to the elections on Tuesday, May 23.
Right. So the Electoral Commission will receive nominations from prospective candidates for the elections of a member of parliament for the said constituency. The nominations will be received at the Kumawu district office of the commission from 2nd May to the 5th of May. That's a 3-day window between the hours of 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and then 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on each day. So if you are interested, you are required to download the nomination forms from the Commission's website, which is www.ec.gov.gh from 14th April 2023 to the 5th of May 2023. So if you're prospective candidates, you may personally deliver or cause to be delivered on your behalf either the proposer or seconder of your nomination. So the completed nomination forms, you send that to the returning officer at the Kumawu district office as intimated earlier on the above dates as I've mentioned. Now, the filing fee for the election is 10,000 Ghana cedis per candidate. And all completed nomination forms are expected to be delivered in quadruplicates. So 4 copies each.
Very well. Thank you very much, Caleb Kuda, bringing us a letter from the Electoral Commission announcing the date, which is May 23, for the by-elections in Kumawu. This is still the Citi Point News on 97.3 Citi FM. Still ahead, we'll tell you how the Medina MP, Francis Xavier Sosu, walked out of the Kaneshie court a free man after police arrested him for a demonstration he held in his constituency 2 years ago. Please don't go away.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Marrying the city's most beloved billionaire, she believed she had hit the jackpot and was on her way to live the soft life she always dreamt of. But that's when it gets darker.
And I'm not sure say your husband to go or be if you hear the filler way I get for your dog.
I still have your underwear in my office drawer.
Watch Adipa as she navigates the glamorous and gloomy world of the rich and powerful in the all-new drama series, The Billionaire's Wife. The Billionaire's Wife, only on Showmax. Sign up at showmax.com.
1xBet. Easy betting, easy winning. 1xBet, reliable bookmaker that offers you a huge range of bonuses, great odds, and many chances to win. Register now on 1xBet.com.gh and use promo code PLAY1 to get 300% bonus up to 3,445 Ghana cedis on your first deposit. 1xBet gives you more. Gambling can be addictive. Bet responsibly. Not for person under 18 years. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission.
Resurrect your love for shopping at the Kitia Victory Sale happening inside Kitia Mall. Get up to 30% off selected items from our wide variety of furniture and home accessories and leave feeling glorious. Explore our furniture universes and be spoiled for choice. There's a perfect item for your home on every corner. The sale runs till the 16th of April, so visit us on the Spintex Road and enjoy shopping at a discount this Easter.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, the Member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, who was standing trial for allegedly obstructing the highway and causing damage to public property, has been discharged by the Kaneshie District Court for want of prosecution. The Ghana Police Service initiated criminal proceedings against Mr. Sosu after he led a demonstration at Damfa within his constituency over deplorable roads in November 2021. Now, the Medina MP resisted arrest during the said demonstration because, according to him, the arrest was unlawful as he was on his way to Parliament. Here is Francis Xavier Sosu speaking shortly after the court discharged him.
I'm extremely grateful to God for taking me through this trial moment because it's been very difficult from the 25th of October when we had that demonstration and the attempt the police made to arrest me and how that generated all kinds of controversies around and their subsequent attempt to arrest me at church and the many security issues and problems they created for me by taken away my personal bodyguard, and it's been a very challenging time. But well, as a leader, you must be accepting some of these things in your stride, because I always say that you cannot be a star without a scar. And I also say that once you decide to be an effective leader, hold the institutions accountable and hold people accountable, definitely there'll be times that the institutions will come after you, because you will definitely clash with the institutions. And so, yeah, it's something that I've come to understand that is going to be part of the work that we do for a very long time. And we just prepare ourselves for such a time like this. I want to say a very big thank you to lawyer Kojoga Daudu, who stood in the gap for me right from the beginning. Now he's been also very busy with his primary, so I had to go to court myself, and I had to do that alone. But I'm grateful to all the lawyers of FX Law and Associates who have always been supporting the work. I am grateful to Madina and my constituents who always stood by me as far as this matter is concerned. And most importantly, I'm grateful that, His Lordship, His Honor, Ohiniba, was bold enough to strike this matter out for want of prosecution, because right from the word go, it was obvious that the police were never going to prosecute this, because they did not have any evidence that they were going to be using to prosecute this. So I'm grateful. And for me, it's also a vindication of my position that all that the police were doing obviously was malicious. It was just intended to maliciously prosecute me and interfere with my work as a member of parliament.
The MP also expressed gratitude to the Speaker of Parliament for the support granted him during the trial.
And I want to use this opportunity to thank the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Kingsford Sumana Aban Bagmin, who believed in my innocence and had always sought to demand that the right things be done. I also want to thank the parliamentary caucus of the NDC that stood by me, particularly the former leaders, Honorable Aruna Idrisu and Honorable Muntaka, and all the other leaders that stood by me. And I want to thank the entire parliamentary caucus. Also want to thank the entire party leadership that stood by me through the trying time.
We had a member of parliament for Madina, Francis Xavier Sosu.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has emphasized that technology remains a game changer for the African continent if it is to bridge the gap with the advanced world. This was contained in his presentation at the 2023 edition of the Harvard Africa Development Conference at the Harvard Law School over the weekend. The Africa Development Conference convenes academia and practitioners to highlight and explore critical issues related to the development of the African continent. Dr. Bawumia indicated that at the heart of his vision for Africa's growth is the transformative power of technology.
The reality, ladies and gentlemen, is that African countries have been trying to transform their economies without data and such transparent system. That is really the reality. Governments are taking critical decisions without being informed by the data, because the systems that are underpinning the economies are not generating the data for decision making. So when our government assumed office in 2017, we made the ambitious decision to address all of these problems of the lack of unique identity, address systems, and so on, immediately and simultaneously. What is the best way to do it? Our decision was to quickly transform our economy by leveraging on technological innovations as a means to leapfrog the development process, overcome legacy problems, and provide both economic and public sector governance. We chose digitalization as the vehicle, and this is why digitalization has been a major area of focus for our government. If data is the new oil, then digitalization is the most effective and cost-efficient vehicle for generating the data. The introduction of a biometric national identification system in Ghana has been a game changer in several ways. Thus far, more than 17 million people, over 80% of the targeted adult population, have been enrolled in a secured national database. with the Ghana card, which is the national ID in Ghana, the identity of people, even dead people, can be established using their fingerprints. This is one of the most transformational projects implemented under digitalization. With this, we have solved the problem of providing unique identity to our population, a problem we have lived with since independence, over some 66 years ago. We have also started a pilot, ladies and gentlemen, and will likely roll out a nationwide system of providing national ID numbers to children at birth from June this year.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
The Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications says it would continue to engage its regulator to ensure that the deactivation of unregistered SIM cards does not negatively impact the business of network operators. The National Communications Authority, NCA, has directed the Chamber to oversee the removal of all unregistered SIMs from the database of network operators, while all SIM cards registered after the limit of 10 per individual should also be deactivated and removed. Speaking to Citi News, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe said a report would be submitted to the NCA tomorrow.
The numbers definitely will be shared with the regulator. If we are not able to complete within the 17th, whatever is outstanding, it would also be communicated to the regulator. And the regulator has technical people, so they know the technical feasibility or otherwise of some of the things that our members would have to deal with. And so I'm sure once there are reasons why maybe some of them are not completed by the end of today, all of that will be communicated to the regulator tomorrow. The point about it is that these are customers. And so I'm sure that maybe for the regulator and then the policy maker, the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization, and our members as well, it is not our intention to, deny any Ghanaian citizen or any subscriber of the service, and is the reason why we continue to engage with the regulator. If there's even one customer who is unable to access an emergency service, that definitely affects not just the telco, it affects the regulator, it affects the policy maker as well, and it's not something that is intended. So we will continue to engage with the regulator to ensure that the unintended consequences of this directive do not materialize, and in the situations where they happen, we find ways in which we are able to correct them.
Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications.
The Ghana Statistical Service says government can rake in about $4.5 million if it leverages on the full potential of the tourism industry. The service explains that economic viability of the sector can help reduce unemployment amongst the youth. Speaking during the launch of the 2023 Domestic and Outbound Survey in Winneba, the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna Enim, said the survey will offer a comprehensive outlook for the tourism sector.
It is projected that by 2027, we're going to have about 4.3 million people who will come into the country as tourist arrivals. The other number in there is the fact that if we handle the sector very well, we're going to get about 1.5 billion USD from the tourism sector by 2027. And the third number in there is the employment that we're going to generate if the sector is thought through very well. 4.3 million coming in as tourist arrivals. How resourceful will that be for the country? The other number is 1.5 billion USD. Currently, as a country, we are engaging the International Monetary Fund, get a facility of 3 billion USD. This is a sector that if we focus on as a country, we're going to get half of the facility for which we are going to the International Monetary Fund. It tells you how important that sector is. All that Ghana Statistical Service is doing is ensure that we have good tourism data. 2027, the ministry is projecting that the sector will generate 1.4 million jobs, direct, indirect. So that solve our unemployment problem in the country. So from an employment point of view, the way to go is tourism. From an exchange rate point of view, the way to go is tourism. And that is why we want to check whether indeed these numbers can be attained.
Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobne Enim. Meanwhile, a professor of tourism at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Kweku Boache, underscored the need for stakeholders to commit more investments into the sector.
The sector in 2019 generated $1.7 trillion across the world, globally, and it is known to employ 1 in every 10 workers globally. Although the ensuing year of 2020 saw a decline owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, the subsequent years, 2021 and 2022, have witnessed a strong rebound. The development, how tourism connects with sustainable development goals. For example, tourism has been empirically known to contribute to poverty reduction, which is Sustainable Development 1, to reduce hunger, Sustainable Development Goal 2, and create decent work and economic growth, Sustainable Development Goal 8, as well as contributing to conserving the environment and sustainability, Sustainable Development Goals 11 and 13. Like every other sector, tourism is heavily reliant on the availability of valid and reliable data. And to this end, the Ghana Statistical Service conducting a total of 4 surveys, primarily aimed at compiling the tourism satellite account.
That was Professor Kweku Boakye of the University of Cape Coast.
The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, together with the District Chief Executive for Pro East, Alhaji Abdullahi Adams, have visited Miawini, an island community, to assess the level of damage caused by a rainstorm last week. Now, the rainstorm, which occurred last Friday, destroyed buildings, rendering over 300 residents homeless. However, the community is yet to receive any support from the Pro East District Assembly or NADMO. Speaking to Citi News, the District Chief Executive for Pro East in the Bono East region, Alhaji Abdullahi Adams, says after assessing the situation, they will provide the needed support to the affected residents. This is still the Citi Prime News on 97.3 Citi FM. Stories we've been bringing you this hour. Ghana Education Service sends fact-finding mission to the Ghana Senior High School in Tamale to ascertain the veracity of reports that toilet cubicles have been converted into accommodation facility for students of that particular school. Now, the headmaster has denied those reports, and President Akufo-Addo has signed into law the 3 new revenue tax bills passed by Parliament. We also brought you a story where the Electoral Commission has set Tuesday, May 23, as date for the by-elections in Kumawu in the Ashanti region, following the death of their Member of Parliament, Philip Baswa. We spoke to our correspondent, Fred Joho, who is currently with the ECG Revenue Tax Force team, where we understand the Accra Digital Center has been disconnected over 600,000 cedis debt. And you heard from the Medina MP, Francis Xavier Sosu, shortly after he was discharged by the Kaneshie District Court over for the non-availability of prosecution in a particular case that was brought to him by the Ghana Police Service 2 years ago. But that'll be all for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios in Adabraka, Accra. The news was live on all our affiliates across the country. Western Region, Beach FM 100.5 in Takoradi. Upper West, we were live on Tumpani Radio 88.5 in Nadoli and Japa FM in Japa. Upper East, Rekas FM, Bongo, Namo. Northern Region, North Star Radio in Tamale. Northeast, we were live on Nobia FM in Nalerigo. Ashanti Region, we were live on Focus FM, KNUST Campus, and Orange FM 107.9, also in Kumasi. Volta Region, we were live on Sela Radio in Dabala, Holy FM in Aplau, and Savannah Region, we were live on Kasha FM 99.5 in Damongo. You can log on to citynewsroom.com for more stories. My name is Hawa Idrisu Mustafa, and I did this with
Charles Ozukumi.
Netele Nete Ajaho is up next with the afternoon's edition of Citi Business News.